Good morning. This is Youth Connect on 91.1 The Bridge. I'm Steph Seidel. I'm here with Rick Kirstner, the general manager of 91.1 The Bridge and executive director of King's Kids Promotions. We're going to talk a little bit about that a little later. Also, Willie Wishon from the District Recording Studio and Ashley Stacy from Legacy Counseling. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Yeah, nice to be here.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, we're going to chat a little bit today about performing arts and music. So just to break the ice, my first question, do you remember the first time that you heard music?
The first time that I heard music? Wow. That was the turn of the century. I think it was something by Bach. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it was. But, you know, when I was a kid, my dad used to, at Christmas time, he'd put speakers out in the front porch of our house. And I'd be coming home from school about 4 blocks away, and you would be hearing all the Christmas carols. So that's one of my best memories of music when I was a child. I'd be walking home from school, silent night. You know, it would be awesome. It was good.
That's great.
I don't actually remember the first time, but I do remember growing up with country music.
Oh.
People don't like country music, but I love country music. So
That's awesome. Willie, you like country music, don't you?
Maybe.
Just give us that
Maybe.
big, deep.
Maybe.
Garth
If I
Brooks
like
voice.
it, I call it folk, and then it passes.
Oh, okay. There you go. Do you throw banjo in there as well, or what makes it folky?
It's just me being stubborn.
And how about the first time you heard music, Willie?
My mother was a pianist, so she was always practicing in the house. But probably my strongest memory is we used to like bake cookies, and while the cookies were baking, we would play a bunch of like kid songs out of one of those big like music digest books.
Ooh, that's
Wow.
really cool.
Yeah.
And you play instruments, right?
Yeah.
What do you play?
I studied the trombone in high school, did the Royal Conservatory thing up to grade 10, and then I also
Wow.
play like guitar and bass, sort of ish.
That's an interesting thing to study all the way to grade 10, trombone. I like it.
And he sings. He
And
sings.
He sings very well.
And don't you play the piano?
No, my wife does that.
No. Wow. Okay.
Rick, what do you play?
Well, I used to play a trumpet years ago, and
Really?
I could play probably 15 scales on the piano.
Okay.
You know,
Ash?
so that's about all.
I am musically challenged, so I can't even hit a tune. So
But you know
can
where the
help
play
you.
button is, right?
I do. That's the most important one.
There we go.
We can help you.
Yeah, Rick is ready to teach anyone. He's all set. Now, we are doing a really exciting project, and it's a new recording studio. Why don't we chat a little bit about that? Where, when? Willie?
It's been a long time coming, and I think Rick will talk more about that later, but it's here at Fort Composite High School, and it's going to be a world-class, basically best we can get up here, and it's going to have a big room for recording full bands, ISO booths, big control room. I don't know. It's going to be really good. I'm not sure too much else what to say, but...
Do you know when it's going to be open to the public, open to students? Who gets to record in here?
Well, it's actually, they start the construction. They're emptying the room today. So the
Wow.
former, as part of the Fort McMurray Composite High School renovation, they are redoing the music room. So the music room is going to be turned into a recording studio, and we've got it professionally designed. ACI Architects designed it with our input, and the sound engineering has been designed by some folks, Chris Wells, and some people out of the farm and what's
The
the other
farm?
place?
The Armory, right?
The Armory,
Yep.
right, in Vancouver. And so high-end configurations of equipment, the best equipment. People are not going to have to go to Vancouver or Edmonton to record. It's going to be available right here in Fort McMurray. A great design, and it's a beautiful room, high ceilings, and that's what you want in a recording studio. So you get the right miking, and when you get different miking, you get different sounds, and that's what the geeks really like. So any geeks out there will be a full-on professional studio right here in McMurray for you to record in.
Wow. So it's going to be students allowed to record as well as the public. Anyone can come in and get world class.
Sure. Do you want me to talk about all the programs right now?
Sure.
Sure. Well, we designed it. It's been, as Willie said, 5 years in the making with the district, Fort McMurray Public School District, and it's been about 5 years in the making. And the proposal was to teach recording arts to students. So traditional music is being phased out of schools because there isn't as much interest in playing woodwind instruments because you can't play your contemporary favorites on those instruments. So there's a lot of movement going to digital music and creating music and the digital arts and recording arts. So it's going to be recording arts for students primarily for the day. There'll be an after-school program for youth and high-risk youth, any youth that wants to participate. So there'll be an after-school program 3 nights a week, and that'll be exciting. And then after 5:30 every night, it will be open to the community to rent the space, not rent the space, but book the space and work with our producers and our professional studio musicians to create whatever you want. So we'll have people on the team that will help them write, help them, if you might be a piano player and you need a guitar player and a drummer, and you'll be able to choose from professional musicians that we have as part of our team. So writing, if you need, you got an idea and you want help writing, well, Willie is the man to help you write a song. And then, of course, we've got funding applications to get our own producer, a good high quality producer here, and that might be Willie, and it might not be, but we're not sure. But collaboration is the key in good music.
I love it. Now, Willie, your first time you heard music, you said your mom was a pianist. Is that where your passion for music comes from?
Man, I don't know. Music for me is such a fundamental part of life. I guess probably growing up in a musical house influenced that, but especially my faith too. Like, for me, music it's a response to the beauty in the world around us. It's a very intrinsic human way to communicate. If we didn't have music, I'm not really sure where we'd be.
Yeah, I like that. I think we'll take a break and come back with more from Willie, Rick, and Ashley. This is Connect Youth on 91.1 The Bridge. .1 The Bridge. This is Connect Youth. I'm Steph Seidel. I'm here with Rick Kirshner, Willie, and Ashley. Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hi. So we've been chatting a bit about a recording studio that's coming to Fort McMurray Composite High School, which is a collaboration of a lot of people. Rick, can you talk about our partners with this?
Wow, we've got a lot of partners. Do you want me to go to the story first?
Yeah.
Yeah. So about just over 4 years ago, when Doug Nichols, the new superintendent, first came, we had a meeting one day. He said, "Rick, what else do you want to do in the school district? What do you want to do to help kids? We're always doing what's best for kids." So I said, well, it's always been a dream to do a recording studio in Comp or somewhere. And he said, well, let's look at that more. And at that time, they were preparing to do the big renovation at Comp, and so we just looked at it. All the stakeholders came involved in terms of the principal, the teachers, the student body were consulted to talk about the potential of a recording studio, and so it just kind of emerged out of that. Now the project has taken well over 4.5 years to get to here because of the renovations and different things, and they're expensive. So studios are expensive. So we're just thankful. The board said, well, we will just do, as part of our renovation of the music room, we'll just reconfigure a little bit. So it didn't cost the board a ton of money. And so they said, you go out and get partners to get the equipment and do the infrastructure in the wall. So we've had to go out and look for those people. So then the programming, we need people to run it and run our programs that align with it. So some of the people that have been involved, we just got a call this morning from Suncor Energy Foundation. We're so stoked because they offered to support us in terms of $35,000 for the infrastructure, the wiring in the walls, the pots in the walls, and things like that. The studio is about to be started next week in the construction, and so we'll be actually doing that work ourselves and hiring some specialty folks to do the wiring in there. So Suncor Energy Foundation has been a big part, certainly Fort McMurray Public School District. Willie comes to us, and Willie's position is funded for 2 years from the Anglican Church in Fort McMurray, and he works part-time for us, and he's just been such a blessing. But he works part-time with the Anglican Church and the Youth Outreach Program, and he can tell you more about that. But so we're just really thankful for that. Heritage Village. So we're working with SOS, has a performing arts or a summer camp, and they've asked us to come and be involved with them this coming year. We'll do a 5-week camp, and we'll add a performing arts component to it. They've already done some performing arts, but we'll add some work in songwriting and musical training and things like that. Heritage Village, we'll have our start and our end event for this SOS camp next year at Heritage Village on the stage, that big stage that'll be position. So Red Cross, of course, we're praying and asking God to give us some Red Cross money so that we can pay for the rest of the equipment and some of the staff that we need. We need a producer, as I said before, and a producer is very important to making good music. If you don't have a good producer that understands instrumentation, orchestration, then you just kind of come up with not the best music. So the Filipino community, we've worked with the Carabeos, and some of those guys are good musicians. And as I said before, there'll be an after-school program. There'll be an evening program, a showcase of artists once a month, and then this performing arts camp. And so you need youth workers that can help do that work and care about kids and actually have some ability in terms of the skills in music. So Filipino community, Canadian Mental Health Association are working with us because we want to reach out to kids post-wildfire as well. We want to make sure that we're recognizing children that are maybe in distress and need help. Mm-hmm. So how do we help them get connected to the services and the agencies that will help them? Because it's all about youth and kids and how we can serve them as they develop, and then also as some people are still experiencing difficulties because of the fire. So yeah, so that's some of our partners, and we're open to more. If you're out there and you want to come be part of this thing, this is a collaboration, and the more the merrier.
Now, one of the things that you said was Doug Nichols asked you, what's next? And you said, I always wanted to do a recording studio. Why?
Well, I just see music as one of the greatest tools to engage youth, and they love music. They love to make music. They love humming, singing. As Willie said, it's an intrinsic part of most people. As a matter of fact, I've got a great video of this morning at 6:30. My daughter Sarah sent me a video of the baby monitor, and Millie, her 3-year-old, is up there singing a combination of Jingle Bells and I don't know, Bless the Lord, Oh My Soul. Those two songs were coming together. But there she's sitting in her bed just singing at the top of her lungs over the baby monitor. It's cool because music is part of it, and it is a great way to express it. But we're musical people. We're creative people. So I think it's important to do music for those reasons, engaging kids.
I love it. Now, Willie, can you tell us a little bit about Youth Voices WB and maybe what we did together with them?
So that was really exciting. I remember before my wife and I even came to Fort McMurray, Rick emailed me and told me we're going to be working on this project. And I was like, what? Like, we don't even have a studio yet. So I was kind of not sure how it was going to go, but it's been an awesome experience. Basically, we've been working with 8 youth from across the city and helping them tell their stories, answering the question, what would you do to make your community better? And the responses were, some of them were very direct. One person said, I want better public transportation. But the other people, it really came to, like, what does the idea of home mean? How do you build community? How does your story affect the way you see the community? How does it make you want to move forward? And all of these expressions are so unique and so different, and we got to sit down with all of them for 3 hours, help them work on their song, work on, maybe rhyming, or some of them just had a line and we had to figure out the whole thing, put chords to it, put music to it. And we really got to work with them and empower them to take, their concept and flesh it out. Then we got to sit them down in the studio, do an acoustic take of their song. They got to be through the whole studio process, a lot of them for the first time, which can be scary, but it's also a really cool experience. So yeah, it was awesome. We got to work with lots of different songwriting coaches too from across the city. Like, it wasn't just me.
Who were some of those coaches?
So we had my wife Genevieve did some coaching, and Sky did some coaching, and then Chris, our producer, did some coaching as well with some of the rap kids, and yeah, it was awesome.
That is wonderful. Such a cool thing, and so great that so many organizations are coming together and saying, you know what, this is a worthwhile cause. I want to get involved and put money behind it, put partnership behind it, and say, yep, we're in. I love that. We're going to come back. We're going to chat some more about this recording studio, about youth having a voice in Wood Buffalo, and about music on 91.1 The Bridge. This is Youth Connect. .1 The Bridge. I'm Steph. This is Connect Youth. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for joining me, guys. I've got Rick, Willie, and Ashley here. We're chatting about music and the recording studio, and Willie just left off about the Youth Voices WB campaign. Now, you were saying that there were some songs created, that the recording studio got to partner with Youth Voices WB. Where can people hear them?
Well, the songs were pushed out on social media during the election, so that people would hear Youth Voices. So anywhere on social media, just look for the hashtag Youth Voices WB, and you'll find their songs. I mean, they've been shared over on our district studio Facebook page too, and on the districtstudio.ca. So there's lots of places you can find them, but that hashtag's probably the easiest place. And yeah, listen to the songs; they're so good. Encourage the youth who put the time and effort into it, and yeah, they'll love it.
They'll love it for sure. And then you can also come and cheer them on, hearing them live.
Yeah, so this is the most exciting part, I think, is we've gone through this whole process with all of them, and on November 10th, here at Fort Composite High School in the King Street Theatre, we're going to have a live talent showcase event. So all the youth from the campaign and probably some others are going to come, and we're going to perform their songs live. It's going to be a great event. We're going to have lots of food, some prizes to give away. I mean, a number of the youth groups in town have already said, yeah, we're in, so there's going to be a big crowd there. So come cheer on these new artists. Like, seriously, these guys are good, and you want to be there to hear it.
That's awesome. Now, Ashley, you're a resident counselor from Legacy Counseling. What do you think about music and creativity? Is that good for the brain?
It's definitely good for the brain. It activates the brain in different ways rather than just being on video games or just kind of being stuck at home. Being able to connect with music is a great way to just express yourself. And when you're talking about mental health, it provides youth an opportunity to kind of express their emotions, express how they're feeling, express their identity in a way that they may not have thought of before. And then it kind of gives them a voice, which is great that it's called like Youth Voices, because most of the time, that generation, that age is silented, which has a major effect on mental health when you think that you're not heard or you don't matter. So being able to provide a space where youth can be creative and have that voice allows them to know that they're worth something.
That's awesome.
And for mental health specifically, like when you're talking about depression and anxiety, a lot of the times isolation comes up and you're not wanting to get out there and you're not wanting to express yourself. So allowing and encouraging youth to be able to interact with one another and also other community agencies and just supportive adults breaks through that isolation, which in turn kind of fights against the anxiety and depression that they may be feeling.
Awesome.
Cool.
Now, if you are listening and you're like, you know what, I've got some ideas and I'd love to hear them in a song, and how can somebody contact you, Willie?
They can just send us an email at info@thedistrictstudio.ca, and we'll get you hooked up. We'll take you for a tour of the studio. We'll talk about your project, and we'll go from there.
I love it.
And if anybody wants to sponsor, of course, you can call me Rick at 911thebridge.com. You can email, or you can call, or you can just drop right in, and we'll help you get hooked up with helping us put this studio together for the Fort McMurray youth and for the community in large.
Yeah, this is super exciting. I'm super stoked about this, and it's just going to be such a fun thing. And then also that SOS Performing Arts Camp next summer is going to be great. There's so many cool things coming down the pipeline, which are just so exciting. So watch this space for sure. And what's the website again?
thedistrictstudio.ca.
Perfect. Thanks so much for joining me, everyone. This has been Connect Youth on 91.1 The Bridge.